this is one of the parshiot that is considered to be of consolation. For the next 7 weeks, the readings from the prophets will be to console us as we approach the high holidays. And it does, as Paul just said, include the so-called valedictory addresses, the farewells from Moses, the prophet, the leader, and most especially the teacher. It's stunning almost that Moses, at this point in his career, he told us when we first met him at the burning bush that he is a man of few words, that he stumbles and stutters and he can't speak. And now he's clearly grown in that capacity. And he gives us a recounting of the travels and the tribulations as the Jews came out of Egypt to go to the promised land, a promised land that he will not reach. In this parsha, there are 2 special sections that I want to mention, and then a third that we rarely focus on, but I think is very important. First of all, we hear Moses tell us the Shema, the confirmation of God's unity and our unity with God. It's one of the 2 prayers I think that most Jews, religious or not religious, know. The Shema, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one, and the parts that follow it. And the other one is the Kaddish, the so-called mourner's prayer, which most people don't understand at all, but as life would have it, we all say it, so they don't even recognize it as a glorification of God and God's name. So there we have it, the Shema. That should be the end of the parsha. What could be more important? But no, then we have a recitation of the 10 Commandments, the same 10 Commandments that we read about in Exodus, but Moses is sure to tell it to us because he believes that by following the statutes, by following the testimonies, by following the laws, commandments that we are given, that we will learn from the past and we can take it to the future. So at that, I want to just mention that there's another line that honestly you kind of wonder, why is it just hanging there? And what it really says is that you shall do the right and the good. Wait a second. Why is Moses telling us that? He just told us that we have to keep the 10 Commandments. Why is it necessary to also say that we have to do the right and the good? For me, that's an exceedingly important encounter, and I take it to heart in this way. It's a lesson, I think, that I've learned and that I think we all should consider. So first of all, I think it reflects on what one of our great scholars said is our willing to do compromise. And secondly, it tells us that that morality cannot be necessarily legislated, that it's not universal as Aristotle will have it, but that we have to also be willing to be particular too and adjust some of our thinking when we talk to people. So a quick story from a famous rabbi who was talking with a student of his who said, he asked the student, so how many sections are there in the Book of Laws, the Shulchan Aruch? The student wisely and quickly says 4 chapters. No, says the rabbi, there's a 5th. The student says, unheard of. He says, yeah, the 5th is how are we going to be a mensch? And that's how we have to adjust, to do the right and the good. And we see that in every, and should see that in every single encounter we have with our fellow men.